return, I thought was a wonderful way of showing this love, and I believe that it is love that truly draws people, and so I thought we could cover a lot more people by feeding. Volunteers, you know, they have truly been sold.
My passion is to help, and I thank God for what I can do through the help of Bahamas Feeding Network.
Abuse, domestic violence, suicidal tendencies. Are you being stressed out from these problems? Call the national hotline at 422-2763 or 322-2763. There are trained social workers available 24 hours to help you. Know that you are not alone in this.
I haven't been coming to this island since I was 12 years old. It didn't take me long to realize the rich history it has here. When I bought this island in 2018, I fulfilled a lifelong dream. The goal is not only to preserve the memories I made over those years, but to make new ones and to give others the opportunity to do the same. As we go through this process, it has become clear to me. We aren't just rebuilding an island, we're reviving a legend.
I don't know, but what kind of cars is that parking on? You ain't even know where to park. Yeah, just don't park in the, look at this way. Like, you ain't get nowhere to go. Don't park, just don't park in the handicap spot. Yeah, that's handicap spot. No, you can't park in the handicap spot. I ain't gonna be that long. I ain't gonna be that long. Handicap spot, boy, what's going on, dog? I tell you we shouldn't park here now. This way park here, man. I tell you we shouldn't park here. Don't get one of these things. My bad big bro, and he got a sticker inside to say this mud though. We gotta move. This is a handicap spot. That's what we gotta move. But we gotta move. Don't we can move right now. Sorry.
Be considerate. Don't use disabled parking spaces without a decal in your vehicle. This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us. It's great to be back in studio tonight. Well, it's something we're keeping an eye on. That's gas prices seem to have gone down amidst the disturbance in the Middle East, but some predict they could rise eventually if the supply chain is disrupted. Now, while it's unclear when the price hike will take place, the Bahamas Petroleum and Retailers Association is advising Bahamian consumers to closely monitor the situation. According to Bahamas Petroleum Retailers Vice President Vasco Bastian, while the airstrikes between Iran and Israel continues to rage in the Middle East, a barrel of crude oil was traded for about $74 on Monday. It's a spike, he says, we must pay close attention to, as it could possibly have a trickle-down effect on the bottom lines of wholesalers, retailers, and consumers at the pumps pretty soon.
No one can say exactly what the percentage is right now. The spectators, or not the spectators, the spotters on the global market will determine that to a certain degree, because all is the anxiety, the fact that there's war going on, the fact that there's, like I said earlier, there's disruption in the supply chain, and so the spotters will be trying to figure it out, the value they can get for a barrel of oil.
Now, Bastian advises Bahamians not to be alarmed as he predicts there will not be any disruption in fuel supply from the United States, at least for now. Add to that, the Economic Affairs Minister, Senator the Honorable Michael Alcides, indicating that national efforts are underway to enhance the country's renewable energy infrastructure and surpass global standards for renewable energy by 2030. All right, well, let's move on to another story now. You may be glad to know that the Bahamas Power and Light Company is offering some relief this summer. Good news there, eh? Starting July 1, BPL's residential customers, I'm stressing residential customers, will benefit from reduced fuel charge rates of 17.4 cents and 21.4 cents per kilowatt, a slight decrease from the current rate of 18.5 cents and 22.5 cents respectively. Now, the rebates intended to offset the elevated costs that come along with increased summer use of air conditioners, refrigerators, and water heaters, coupled with the temporary reliance on the more expensive diesel to maintain consistent electricity supplies. Now, that's going to be important because here's where good sense comes in, right? If you know that you're trying to maintain energy costs for consumers and you recognize that people are going to use more because it's going to be hot, and we already see all of these heat indexes and these record temperatures, you know, people are going to burn more in AC. So it makes sense to reduce that index, that price, so that people can still balance off those electricity bills. There have been some who've been talking about it on social media, saying, oh my goodness, their rates have gone up, their bill has gone up significantly. And of course, I would think you would expect that too, because you've been using more. It doesn't mean the government plan isn't working, or doesn't mean that the BPL initiative is gone south. It just means that you're using more. You're going to pay more. You can't use more and then expect your bill to go lower every month. It doesn't make sense. But compared to what you've been paying in the past, I think it's still good to say some good mercies happening there. And now with this reduction the government is putting in place, you're going to be able to balance that off and not have that heavy cost. Turn it on so that when you come home in the evening, the room cold, you know, that kind of feeling, that can cost you. Instead of coming home to the hot house and then turning on the air condition to cool down the house, some of you want to leave it on because you want to be comfortable. Well, you got to pay for that. Yeah, you got to pay for that. Ain't nobody fault other than you, because you don't want to be hot. Yeah, okay. So understand that you're going to pay more than the summer months because you're using more. And you want to be comfortable, well, it's a slight price to pay. Still not what people were paying before, as high as people were paying before. So that's a good thing. All right, let's switch over to some politics tonight. The summer heat isn't the only thing rising. The same to be said about the political temperature here in the country. With the serious decisions to be made ahead of the next general elections, the Prime Minister last evening issued a stern warning to his frontline team, made a clarion call to civil servants, and rallied supporters to unite. Here's Felicity Darville with that.
The Progressive Liberal Party's Link Up event in eastern New Providence began with hundreds of supporters participating in a motorcade that culminated at Charles Carter Park. There, Progressive Liberal Party leader, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis, affirmed that his administration is working for the people and they intend to build more homes, give more deserving promotions and pay raises, and boost the workforce. He called on civil servants to work hard to remove roadblocks in the system and empower Bahamians.
Let me say it straight. My administration has to deliver. The Bahamian people didn't send us here to look busy. They sent us here to get things done. So if you are in the public service and you're holding a progress, I want you to hear me loud and clear. Bravely, take them files off them desks. And let's deliver for the people of the Bahamas.
He implored them to cut the red tape and get to business.
If a Bahamian is waiting on land, move the file. If a Bahamian is waiting on housing, move the file. If a small business is waiting on support, move the file. If there's a project ready to go, get it moving.
The Prime Minister hinted that he would be willing to send anyone home, even from his own team, if they failed to carry out the mandate.
This government was elected to deliver, not to stall, not to delay, not to make excuses. I told one fella straight, if you missed that deadline, I want your resignation letter on my desk. And let me tell you, the letter is on my desk. Because we are not here to collect titles. We are here to serve. And if you can't keep pace with the people's expectations, then step aside and let someone else carry the weight.
Prime Minister Davis said that the only thing that can stop his party's momentum is the party itself. With that, he told members of the Progressive Liberal Party to move ahead and move together to enact the blueprint for change for the Bahamian people. For the Bahamas Tonight from Charles Carter Park, I'm Felicity Darville.
All right, move the files, step aside, resignation on the desk. That's the bottom line. I think people are cheering tonight because they want to see that. We've had, as Bahamians, so many challenges in the public service over the years because of stagnation and people who just simply won't be stubborn. Now, we know what has happened. I mean, nobody, you know, this ain't new to nobody. We have to understand that the public service is made up of the public. And that means you're going to have people who work in the public service who support the government in power, those who support the party that want to be the government in power, those who support the party that want to be a party, and those who just ain't sure why they're there. And so you're going to have people who either are not skilled enough to be in the public service, but there because somebody put them there, or you're going to have people who intentionally, they're skilled, but they intentionally put the file under somebody else's drawer, under one box, because they ain't doing it. They ain't pushing it because they don't want to see the initiatives go through. Talk to cabinet ministers, talk to people, talk to leaders in the public service. They'll tell you how much times you get pushback from the people who're supposed to be pushing the matters forward, and they delay intentionally. All those tactics people do in the public service because they want to try and slow the progress, or they ain't interested, or they ain't checking, or whatever. All of those things. And that hinders any administration from getting the work of the people done. At the end of the day, it ought to be about serving the Bahamian people. That's what it ought to be about. And you want to do your job. You ought to do your job. You ought to do your job. All right? And if you do your job, we won't have a problem. So I think that message was very timely, needed to be said, because there are things that have to get done, and people need to put their issues aside and do your job. That's all. Because payday come in when? This is the end of the month. Payday come in this week, and people are going to expect that money to be on their account for not doing their job. So let's just do the job so our country can advance and move forward. Well, this Thursday, the PLP was last night, this Thursday, June 26th, is when the country will hear the list of candidates from the Free National Movement who they're ratified for the 2026 general elections, at least the first set of candidates they say they're going to be introducing. FNM leader Michael Pintard hinted in a social media post today that each of the party's candidates have been challenged to come to public service with a spirit of humility, and they must know the assignment. Okay, so I see what he's saying. He's saying they've been challenged, that they must come, not they're challenged with the spirit of humility. Okay, they're challenged that you ought to bring the spirit of humility and know your assignment working for the Bahamian people. Now, they're releasing their first set of candidates. Smart move. Why is that smart, you say, Clint? Why is it smart not to release a whole gamut? Because you need to see the public reaction with your first set of candidates. And that will tell you whether you need to go back to the drawing board or you need to continue along that route. So release a few, test the waters, see the reaction, and I'll tell you whether you're on the right track or not. I'll tell you one thing, release your strongest voices because that will determine whether you pick up momentum and people say, oh, yes, I'm considering the FNM. Yes, I believe they're going to provide a great government based on your first set of candidates. If you come out with candidates that are lackluster, or aren't appealing to the public, or don't represent what Bahamians want to see with a new administration or next administration period, then you're in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. And you can imagine if the candidates ain't what your own supporters want, you're going to have some storms raising. So it's going to be interesting. We wish them well. on Thursday, and we'll see exactly what transpires. You can stay locked to the ZNS network. We're going to have live drops in the news, and of course, 11 o'clock news. We're the only station in the country that has a fresh 11 o'clock newscast, by the way. So at 11 o'clock news, we'll have the latest from those nominations being announced in 11 o'clock news on Thursday night. So stay with the ZNS network. We always and keep you covered, and we always have what you need and when you need it. All right. We have a final story, I think, in today's Toronto, Canada mission. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honourable Chester Cooper, he provided an update on the work of the Boundaries Commission. Now, you know why this is important, right? As political leaders question and alleged delays in meetings, we wanted to hear what is happening with this Boundaries Commission. Here's what he had to say.
The Boundaries Commission that I chair has been engaged loosely. We've had a few meetings already. The work began in earnest on July 2nd. When the House resumed, we're going to have a meeting before the House resumed. We're going to start some deeper discussions as to what boundaries might look like moving forward into the next election.
All right, that's going to be important because that's how you will determine who's in what constituency, whether there'll be additional constituencies, whether there'll be less constituencies. You won't know all of that until the Boundaries Commission meets. So they have to meet, you see. And of course, some people have been using it as an excuse saying that why they can't release all of their candidates because they don't know who's going to be where, who's going to be what. But at least you know, have an idea, and you can always make the changes once the commission comes out. And so the FNM, I guess, decided, yeah, let's do that. Let's at least release the first set. And if we need to make changes, we can go ahead and do that. We did get a soundbite from Michael Pintard on the candidates launch on Thursday. Why don't we go ahead and play that?
We'll have no tolerance for corruption, no tolerance for arrogance, no tolerance for focusing on self rather than the people that we serve. Is that no matter what has happened with anyone else, I make a commitment that as we stand together, we can change this country for the better, not just for you, but for your children.
There you go. So the FNM is all set and ready for Thursday night at 8 o'clock, and we'll see who they have on that first start. I call it the starting lineup, right? Because in baseball, you have a starting lineup and you have those on the bench. I'm assuming Thursday will be your starting lineup. And they're going to announce the first set of candidates, and we'll have more talk about that. Obviously, we'll be back on Monday in the chair and the show. We'll be talking about those candidates that they announce first up. Well, tonight's show is going to be an excellent show. We're going to be focusing on the new joint project between the Ministry of Works and the Water and Sewage Corporation in Eastern New Providence. That's a big deal. The $1.2 million road work initiative is aimed at strengthening aging water distribution systems along Joe Farrington Road. We have the ministers here. The minister responsible for both agencies are here. The two of them are here. And of course, you know, we're gonna have a good time. I'm looking at them over the corner. It looks like a nice Oreo cookie. We're gonna talk to these ministers and get an understanding of what's going on. Right after the break, you're watching Beyond. What am I watching? How's it Beyond that night? You're watching The Rundown here on the ZNS Network. Stay close. We continue our conversation after the break.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community, also help with the education of our kids in this community, and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Stripe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
This year, King Door National Parkinson Foundation is taking you back Back to the old school. With entertainment by TMF, the band formerly known as Maze.
Y'all better come on now.
Also appearing will be local artist Plotty and the Naked Eye and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Pop Band.
Save the date. Saturday, June 28th, 2025. Atlantis Paradise Island.
To purchase your tickets, call telephone 428-2588 or visit Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store, Mackey Street.
The new stuffed crust cheddar flavor has a taste you'll enjoy.
Outside and inside.
With a delicious stuffed crust covered in irresistible cheddar flavor. Come and try the new stuffed crust cheddar flavor only at Little Caesars.
Pizza, pizza.
For us at the Myers Group of restaurants, we found that we have a pretty large portion of our employment pool that had difficulty getting bank accounts.
The issue we had previously was just getting cash, getting funds on the island. And with only one working ATM, the idea of the sand dollar just in being digital, and everybody has a smartphone nowadays, it actually worked into our favor.
The sand dollar was like a godsend because it allowed us to add it to our payroll system, which means we're able to send their money to the sand dollar wallet.
It's still a bank transfer because you get an account number. So from the employer side of things, all I have to do is send your funds just as usual.
It opens up our pool for us to be able to hire some of the people that we couldn't hire before because they were unable to open bank accounts. This has been a really good solution.
Hey, what's up, Mario?
Hey, Dale, what's going on?
Have you seen ZNS new digital platforms?
No. Let me go check it out.
Good day, Bahamas. I'm Devontae Hanna, and this is ZNS Digital,
where we cater to your news and entertainment needs. Are you a foodie? I thought so. Then look out for Digital Bites.
Shining a light on Bahamians and the good that they do, ZNS Digital is home to the sunshine room.
Keeping up with the latest trends, our original content will keep you entertained.
Yeah, that's cool.
But have you seen the new website?
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
We're still your most trusted source for news and information.
That's ZNS Digital?
Yeah, that's ZNS Digital, the people station in your pocket.
Welcome back to the show, and of course, a special good night to all of you. I see those of you in the Lions Den. It's always good to have you. Bertha Smith, always there, keeping it alive. Bertha, good to have you. And those of you watching on YouTube or whatever platform you get your show on, thank you for joining us in the Turks and Caicos Islands, around the region, and those of you internationally around the world watching tonight, and those of you here at home. Always a pleasure to have you joining us on The Rundown. Well, as all systems go for the start of the water improvement project set for the Joe Farrington Road area, tomorrow at 9 p.m. it begins. It's an area water and sewage officials acknowledge is the most challenging area in all of New Providence, and this is why the water improvement project for this area will span several communities, benefiting residents and businesses. The multi-million-dollar project will comb the entire length of Joe Farrington Road. That's from Bay Lily to Fox Hill Roads. Bay Lily, of course, is in the Seabreeze area, straight to Fox Hill Roads. Shedding more light on this project, of course, is the Minister of Works, the Honorable Clay Sweeting, and the Minister of State responsible for the Water and Sewage Corporation, the Honorable Leon Lundy. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's good to have both of you here tonight.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so let's jump right in. Well, what specifically does the Ministry of Works have to accomplish in order to complete this venture?
Right, so this is a partnership between the Ministry of Works and the Water and Sewage Corporation, where we tendered the project, the water works were scoped, and you know, we've had a lot of concerns in regards to paving Joe Farrington and how bad the state of the roads are there. But we didn't want to pave then have to dig up.
Because you know that's what's been going on for too long in this country. It makes no sense. A freshly paved road, and all of a sudden you have the utilities company come behind and dig it up.
Yeah, so we ain't gonna do that this time.
Good, smart.
And this is where government entities, where they talk to one another, and that's where it's important for collaboration. So this is collaboration between the Ministry of Works, Family and Affairs, and the Water and Sewage Corporation, where we will undertake this project, and then once Baker Wick, the company that was awarded the contract, once they have completed the works, then the Ministry of Works, Bahamex, will then go in and pave. So Joe Farrington have newly smooth.
And I know people in that area, they've been complaining about the potholes for a long time. I am sure they're excited. But of course, before you can enjoy the great results of this, there's going to be some inconvenience.
Yep. So you want to speak to?
Yes. Yes, and thank you, Clint. And we're proud to announce that we will be starting at 9 o'clock to kind of minimize the amount of inconvenience that caused. So we'll be working between 9 and 5 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, just to make sure that the residents aren't hampered too much in their thing. And this is an ongoing project that government is undertaking in order to ensure that the infrastructure is there, the basic necessities for people are there.
Talk about what kind of challenges they have right now with water, and when you're completed with this work, what can they expect?
Well, this would affect like 1,000 customers in total. They've had red water, low pressure. Yes, because the piping wasn't done for quite a amount of decades. So definitely this will improve it. We're laying 6,000 feet of 10-inch pipes, and also 700 feet of side roads will be laid.
All right, well, you know, it's right up your alley. Get those pipes down. So let's talk about the fact that, how long do you expect this to happen?
This project will take about 3 months, and that's
for the water.
For the water.
For the water, right.
For the water aspect of it, and that's weather permitting and everything else. But we're taking the necessary steps to minimize anything that'll hamper that from happening.
So during the process of the 3 month for the works, will any paving begin, or do you begin your paving after they're done?
We'll begin, because what happens is that once the pipes are installed, then you need pressure testing to ensure there are no leaks and all of that. Because even after the waterworks is done, you want to pave, and then you have issues with leaks in certain areas. So the pressure test the system, make sure that the system's a go. Once we get the okay from water and sewage, then we'll go ahead and start paving immediately after that is completed.
So those first 3 months will be dealing with the water.
Yes, and it'll be in a 3-phased approach. We're going to take it from Bailey Drive almost up to the midsection of Joe Farrington, and we're starting from west, moving east to make sure that we have traffic diversions and everything that'll help out. Yeah, the customers.
So paving shouldn't begin until 3 months from now.
Yeah, but paving wouldn't take, paving shouldn't take that long. But once after the 3 months, the pressure testing is completing, then we'll start to pave.
The good thing is you're doing it during the summer months, so you don't have to deal with that morning traffic for school.
Yeah.
But of course, when September first comes, that's when it becomes tricky and challenging.
Yeah. So I mean, I think you have a few challenges that you have to work out. So even if you don't have the months with school, then you also have the months where you have a rainfall. So you have to plan for that as well, because if you start to pave and then you have rain, then it only creates a large issue. So you have to work between all of those different type of issues that can be challenging.
You've been asking people to be patient.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that it would be as painless as I think the Ministry of Works and Water and Sewage and Baker Wick has assess the whole situation to minimize as much disruptions as possible. So it'll be as painless as possible. It'll be a little bit of challenges, some with dust and some diversions, but for the most part, it'll be painless.
Are you using the public-private partnership for this particular involvement, or is this is solely a project for the Ministry of Works and Water and Sewage?
Yeah, so this will be solely a government-funded initiative, and it's about $1.2 million for the water, and it'll be solely government-funded.
And what is it costing to do the paving?
Right. So average cost of paving in New Providence is around, if we mill the road, around $500,000 to $600,000.
You say mill the road, because you know, for us, us indoor folk, we don't know what that means.
So milling is when we reuse the material. So we scrape off the top of the road, and then we can reuse. When you have to reconstruct, when you have to build the road from the bottom up, then it runs you around $750,000, $800,000 a mile in New Providence. Wow. So I anticipate that once we are there, that there'll be other roads that maybe the members of parliament or persons in the community might ask us to see if we can pay while we're in the area.
Might ask. in an election year, might ask. So you better prepare to pay some people road and driveway.
But I will add, though, that the Ministry of Works, Baja Mix has paved much more than they've paved in the past. I mean, we're up to over 60 miles of roads in the past year and a half. In New Providence alone. So they've been paving, they've done an excellent job.
Is it because we are behind with a lot of this work was done and we haven't maintained it? No. Or is it because of climate change and really the weather systems and roads just deteriorating faster?
I think you got a couple different challenges in moving pieces. You got climate change where you have areas such as downtown and Pinewood and Coral Harbor where you have areas that flood, and if water if the road's underwater for a while, then they deteriorate quicker. But then you've had where where you have a standard that you pave 20-some miles of road a year, you choose that road, and that's pretty much it. But we're up the ante, and we're paving above what was mandated prior to that.
Is drainage systems something that you also take in consideration when constructing these roads?
Of course, yeah, and we've also got IDB approved funding to do managed drainage overall downtown, Pinewood, Coral Harbor, and other areas as well. But all of that is included, so you'll see drainage when you do the civil works of what's needed when you build roads. Drainage is incorporated in that.
All right. When we look at what's happening with the water and sewage, is there a concern also in that area with pressure? I know you talked about the red water, but is there also an issue with pressure?
Yes, that's one of the complaints that come out. I think we have in this area about 70% of the customers complain of either the red water or the pressure. And this will alleviate all of those items for us. It'll actually bring more pressure because, of course, we're going to the 10-inch piping, and that'll definitely help out in that area.
All right, let's go to a break. When we come up, we're going to talk about some other projects that are on the drawing board that you can look out for as the administration seeks to do better with improving infrastructure. Watching the rundown. We're back after this. Stay close.
What is it that you want to do? And we want to have a good time. We want to be free to do what we want to do.
Hey, ladies, where's the Dave? Oh, okay, thanks.
Greg, what's up?
Ready, man, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
You up?
He's meditating. You gotta give him at least an hour.
All right, well, I can wait. I ain't got nothing to do. Been I say now on to independence.
After I was in a plane crash in June 1983, I lost my left arm. I had some good friends, came along, fishing guides. They said, man, we can teach you to fly fish. Exuma. Can you see? Look at it, man. One of the nicest places you want to be in the world. There were challenges learning to cast, learning to put a fly on a leader, learning to tie the different knots for me as a handicapped individual. As a matter of fact, I don't really feel handicapped because I could do everything, man. Anything anybody could do, I think I could do it too. Because with your mindset to do anything, no matter what you are, what you look like, what's happening to you, you can do it. For instance, in our positions, it's hard to get fundings and very, very expensive. SBDC would be helpful in regards to help funding people with disabilities. So nothing is impossible if you're disabled. Any kind of disability. Put faith in God and trust God. Believe you will overcome.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation on the water improvement project in the Joe Farrington Road area with the Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs, the Honorable Clay Sweeting, and the Minister of State responsible for the Water and Sewage Corporation, Honorable Leon Lundy. And when we talk about this particular project, is this the only project that will be taking place in New Providence at the time, or do you have other projects that are going on simultaneously for works with roads and for water and sewage regarding water improvement projects?
Well, for water and sewage, this is the only main project that we're doing, but of course we have some sewer projects that we're doing out on Awaki and also near the hospital area. So,
what about works?
Yeah, so in regards to road paving, we continue the Nassau Road Improvement Project, which I announced, I think, about 1.5 years ago. So we'll continue with that. You should see a ramp up in road paving in the next year. Baja Mix is now an incorporated company, which it wasn't prior. So they would have a full board, and they will be able to function as they should to pave. You know, they would be hindered by the Ministry of Works invoicing them. So you'll see a ramp up there. If you go to almost every island in the Bahamas right now, we're paving. If you look at Abaco, we're paving Abaco. We're paving in North and South Andros. We're paving in the Barry Islands. We're paving in Eleuthera. We're about to start Cat Island. We're paving Cat Island. We're about to start San Salvador. We're about to start Inagua. We have some areas in the Keys and Cherokee, Sweeting's Village, Manawar Key, Grand Bahama. So we have an aggressive, real aggressive road paving exercise over the next year.
When you're completed with this, how long do you believe this should last? Is there a period you're hoping that these roads now will last, or is it going to be continuous?
No, these roads, so in Island, so we just signed the road contract for Long Island.
Correct.
For the runway as well as the main road. But we're paving with asphalt in the Family Islands now. So prior, we used to use sand and steel, which was an inferior product. So now the Family Islands finally get the same product what New Providence gets.
And it's good, because if you travel a Family Islands like I have, and you've seen the difference in the areas where they have already paved, it's an amazing experience. And you don't recognize how much you value it until you're there and you realize this is a complete different experience that I used to have.
I think prior to that, maybe only Cooperstown, maybe only at asphalt prior to now.
You're right. You're right. You knew when you were arriving in Cooperstown, the road just went different.
So now when you go to all the Family Islands, they'll get the same.
I had that experience in Bimini just yesterday, coming from the airport in South Bimini. It was bad, and then all of a sudden it went well. And I was like, oh, did we just go somewhere else? And it was just striped and lines, and you know, all they need now is cars.
They've been agitating for that for decades.
They got it, and now they're getting a new airport. Boy, things are looking good for Bimini. Minister of Works, you're on the move.
Things looking good for all Family Islands.
Yes. Keep putting it on the record. The Minister of Family Island Affairs is saying things are looking good for Family Islands. And obviously this budget speaks to that, because this budget has been labeled just that, to be able to look at improving the life of Bahamians throughout the archipelago, not just in the capital. And road works obviously speaking to that. What about water and sewage? I know there were some areas that had some concerns about water supply. How are we looking now?
Well, definitely, as Minister Sweeting said, we're dealing with it island by island. I know in Eleuthera, we just signed a $2.5 million deal to have some water in some parts of his constituency that
which have been complaining. They've been complaining forever.
Yes, in John Miller's Yes, and also we have desalination plants that's going to be placed in North Acklands. In Cat Island, we have 2 plants that are going to be placed down there, and then we're doing the biggest water improvement project that we've ever had, 90 miles of piping being done in Cat Island. And not to be left out, Andros, we have 2 projects going on in Andros, South Andros, and also Mangrove Key. And we're looking at some storage facilities for Central Andros and North Andros. So definitely we're doing it island by island as our budget stated.
People, I think, don't get a good appreciation for it. We don't talk about it enough. We have to literally duplicate services island by island to ensure that people enjoy the same quality of life, right? No one island should have a better quality of life than the other. They all deserve to have running water, paved roads, infrastructure, electricity that's consistent, airports. And people don't understand that's an expensive undertaking, because when in other countries in the Caribbean, they got to maybe just improve one airport. We've got a whole slew of them. And when they only got to improve, you know, they can pave the whole island and be done. We have several islands to do that on, and many of them are way bigger than the capital. It's an expensive undertaking. How do you prioritize the need? Because everybody seems to have an urgent need. Help me now. But how do you prioritize what comes first?
I think that's always a challenge, and whether it's water, infrastructure, because everybody deserves the same level of lifestyle as another island. So I think that's what the technical people at the Ministry of Works does a great job of. If they have a full agenda. When I became Minister of Works, they had a full line of scope of works of areas that's been neglected. And then you try to get as much as you can with the budget that's allocated. Sometimes you try. We've been creative. The government's been creative, and the Prime Minister did an excellent job of being able to navigate through providing funding, whether it's through PPPs or SPVs, and all of these different avenues to ensure that islands, New Providence, get the level of service that they deserve. So it's always going to be a challenge. But you do as much as you can with what you're given, and you know, I think that the government has done an excellent job. The Prime Minister has been able to help us navigate through to accomplish as much as we have in just 4 years.
What about the water? And I think for us, it's all about progress. And definitely, as the minister said, you come up with a plan, because you want to make sure that you touch everybody and you make sure that you're on the right track to do it. So as he said, you may get a small portion to deal with an island today, so you make sure that these are the needs that are really necessary for you to deal with, like the distribution. You deal with that on that island, and then you deal with storage on another island. You try to balance it out as best as you can, but at the end of the day, you keep on moving. You make sure that when you touch an island, you're doing it properly. That's where you don't have to circle back in order to fix a problem. As he said with the Joe Farrington Road, you don't want to fix one phase and then realize after you pave, there's leaks, the pressure is in there. So you want to make sure that you do the job right one time, get it right, and just keep on progressing as you go.
And if you look at all of our projects now, you'll see a partnership between the Ministry of Works and Water and Sewage. So if you look at Joe Farrington, which is a partnership, right? You look at South Andros. You look at Mangrove Key, which should be announced shortly. You look at Long Island. You look at Eleuthero. All of these are partnerships with different entities in the government to ensure that once you do it properly the first time.
And it does help to make sure that you have 2 Family Island MPs at the help.
And the Prime Minister who's a Family Island MP.
They're going to make sure that people on the islands are well covered. Has there been dialogue, particularly with Joe Farrington Road? Are people aware, residents aware of what's going on, what's happening? Has there been dialogue, meetings with them so that they are kept abreast of what's happening?
Yeah, we've the public relations team of Water and Sewage and the Ministry has done an excellent job. The technical persons, we had a town meeting with the members of Parliament from Elizabeth, from Seabreeze, to discuss what they can expect. They were able to also, Bakerwick was there, the contractor, and constituents were able to ask questions, provide concerns. So we've done all of that, and along with the public relations campaign. So we've been into the community. They are quite aware. They were able to be engaged in the dialogue.
Has this partnership proven to work successfully already? And what I mean by that is the going in together and making sure we don't have to redouble the effort. Have you had to go back and redouble the effort, or does it seem to be the formula that's working?
No, I think it's a good formula, and especially on the island of Exuma, where we're almost done with the paving and also the pipe work. We've seen where when we take it in stages and water comes before and we complete ours and then hands it over to the Ministry of Works, it's a great synergy between the two. Yeah.
And it works seamlessly, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
You look at me like, no, don't you ask me for anything else.
No. Listen, you know, I don't mind. You can ask me whatever you want. What do you want to ask me about?
No, I was going to ask. I was going to ask, and then I saw the water and sewage media people here saying, "Don't take my time and do nothing else for politics." So I had to go back on track because you know.
You can ask me.
But no, and obviously one political question I think is important is what have been the major concern of your constituents? Is it the consistency and reliability of electricity and water?
Yeah, I think in the last time I was on your show, Clint, we discussed.
Yes.
At that time, the challenges are surrounding electricity and water.
And you handled it like a pro because you was in trouble. They were saying, Minister, what you gonna do with us?
Well, you know, one old lady, she says, her daughter called me, says, you know, say, Clay, I don't know what you done to my mother. Say, cause the water off, and she say, yeah, but Lord, he trying. But you know, electricity and water are, you know, they're serious issues, and the reliability of that, and that's why we have, you know, a year now from the last time we was on the show, water reliability is much more on par.
Good.
We've had the launch of the 1 million Imperial gallon tank in Governor's Harbor, and in Harbor Island, 300,000 gallon tank there. Also, they've been doing a lot of transmission and distribution work on the lines. We've had some reinforcement with generation, and also, you know, the government just signed a PPA with A&D Energy, which will soon launch LNG and solarization to the island of Eleuthera and Abaco, as well as Harbor Island. So over the next year, you'll see a serious focus on infrastructure. It's much better now than what it was. And as we continue to expand, you'll see the economy, along with power, you know, get to that point.
Good job.
Yeah.
Some MPs can't go back in the constituencies. You can, because you've provided solutions.
Yeah.
Hats off to you.
I live there, so I don't have to go back there. I live there.
See? Good break. Good answer. Good answer, Clay Sweeting. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Stay close.
Got termites and need to get rid of them fast, trust Rentokil Initial. With over 60 years experience in the Bahamas, the global brand, training, and expertise can't be beat. Only Rentokil Initial gives you a 3-year warranty and payment plan options on termite fumigation. No one can match the range of treatments we offer, such as fumigation, pre-construction treatments, termite monitoring, and more. No matter where you are in the Bahamas, we will come to you. When it comes to complete termite eradication, there's only one name, Rentokil Initial.
As we continue to develop the orange economy of the Bahamas and empower our artists and artisans, we as a government intend to show tangible support. We are therefore requesting our Bahamian artists and artisans to submit images of their handmade, authentically made Bahamian products and prices as we move to produce a live digital booklet with Bahamian-made works. With the creation of a live booklet, artisans can always submit new works to be included. It is our intent to use this book as a catalog for the purchase of items by all senior government officials for gifts, display items, and the like. Ministers, permanent secretaries, members of parliament, and ambassadors will be supporting our orange economy by the purchase of items and in sharing this book to the wider global creative community. We are committed to grow and expand the orange economy of the Bahamas.
Welcome back to the show. We're going to be saying goodbye to the ministers and bringing on some technical people, so I wanted to wrap up with the ministers right before they go. And that simply is, what is your bucket list? I have to ask you this. You're both Family Island MPs. You're both in the utilities. What is your bucket list for utilities when you think nationwide that you feel you must get done, and that will make you kind of happy if you're able to achieve it?
Well, I think for me, and being the minister responsible for water, I want to ensure that every Bahamian has access to potable water, making sure that when they go to their taps or their faucets, they turn it on and water is coming out.
All hours of the day.
All hours of the day and night. And nobody is complaining about having to shut off between 10 and 5 in the morning. I can tell you I get those complaints down in Mangrove Key, and definitely it's a sore for me. And I want to really ensure that every Bahamian feels the dignity of just having reliable water.
Awesome. Minister.
Yeah. So I think for me would be for the whole country to feel modern, 21st century, that our country is above board, not just with road paving, because the Ministry of Works is so much more than that. But for us to really find ways to ensure that Family Islanders, persons in New Providence, are able to say that the Ministry of Works is done more than what we anticipated for them to do. Because, you know, sometimes you'll hear constituents say they're supposed to pave roads, they're supposed to provide water. But to impose more creative ways where persons can say, well, that is new. That is something that we appreciate.
And I'm glad to have you here, because there is a question I do want to ask you about Luther, because it's caught in some criticism from the opposition, and that is the cost of the bridge for the glass window bridge, right? They're saying, how do you spend that kind of money? Go find out what that money really going to. How do you spend that kind of money on a bridge? I think it's costing how much?
Well, the total package would be around 86.
Right. And people are saying, why would a bridge cost 86?
But if you looked at, when I spoke in House of Assembly, I give the detailed pricing for the bridge itself is roughly 26, right?
Right.
Then you have a man camp where persons, because the reality is that the economy is booming so much on Eleuthera that you have to bring in people to work. So you got to build a man camp. Then you got to build a production facility. So you got to build all of that. Then you got to construct a new dock, possibly in Hatchet Bay, to land all the heavy equipment to build the bridge.
So this is not just $86 million on a bridge you're building.
No.
This is all that has to take place to support this
and even
development.
on top of that, you got a tourist center, right? That would bring out the orange economy and provide entrepreneurs with something more than just, it's more than a bridge.
Right.
It's, you know, it's one of the wonders of the world.
There you go. And you have to build it and develop it as such.
Right. So, I mean, you know, roads, infrastructure is more than that. It's investing in people. So when you build a road or you build a bridge, how do you ensure that you invest, that people are able to take advantage of every dollar that you spend through government? You know, so for me, Eleuthera deserves it. You know, that's the bottom line. I mean, and I think that the cost, you know, Clay Sweeting didn't say this is what the bridge would cost. This was done by international persons who did the scoping, who did all the work. So we put it out for tender, we put it out for RFP, all of that's been done. The reality is this is more than a bridge.
And I promised the people, they knew I was coming to talk to you all tonight, I promised the people of Bimini I will raise the issue, because I had the Minister of Works and Water and Sewage, and I said to them, it is such a short distance between South Bimini and North Bimini. It can do so much more for economy, because if you go in North Bimini, there ain't no property left. People can't buy homes and all that stuff. People are reluctant to do it in South because of, obviously, having to take a ferry every day. Possibly one day connecting the two. Even if it's a bridge, if it's filling in the land, I don't know, something that they can fully utilize all of Bimini. And maybe there's an idea somewhere down in the pipeline.
Well, I mean, we can look, I mean, because we're also building 7 other bridges throughout the country as well.
Wow.
We got Andros.
He's Andros.
We have 3 in
Andros. Yeah.
Wow.
3 in Exuma, and then the one that connects Arabat Key to Algiers Maritime.
Yeah.
So these are all new bridges?
These will all be, yeah, the acro bridges, which come prefab, and so you connect people. You build.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Keep praying, maybe it'll happen. But I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's such an easy connect for that particular thing. Ministers, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best with these
it.
projects. I'm sure the payment people will be happy about it. Good luck in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to come right back. We're going to talk to some technical people. We'll send the ministers home, and let's get the real answers for technical people. We're back after this.
This year, King Door National Parkinson Foundation is taking you back to the old school. With entertainment by TMF, the band formerly known as Maze.
Y'all better come on now.
Also appearing will be local artist Plotty and the Naked Eye and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Pop Band.
Save the date, Saturday, June 28th, 2025, Atlantis Paradise Island.
To purchase your tickets, call telephone 428-2588 or visit Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store, Mackey Street.
We seem to remember our athletes when they make us proud at the finish line. Throw a Junkanoo parade when they return home, toss them a few dollars, and then forget about them until the next Members of the prestigious Fourth Estate should never sell themselves to any politician. Instead, keep their hands and noses clean in order to publish or broadcast the unadulterated truth. Well, that's how I see it anyway.
Read As I See It, exclusively at ZNNSBahamas.com. New articles premiere on Mondays at 9 a.m.
The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower is a globally recognized symbol for persons with invisible disabilities.
The sunflower lanyard made our journey less stressful, smoother, and more inclusive.
REACH is proud to support the Hidden Sunflower Scheme, which makes the invisible visible. So far, the Nassau Airport Authority and the Nassau Cruise Port are sunflower certified.
So if you see someone with a sunflower lanyard, always remember to be patient and ask if they need some help. Please be kind and always remember to show respect.
We wish to encourage more hotel operators with amenities such as water parks, restaurants, cinemas, government offices to join this initiative, making the Bahamas a more sunflower-friendly country.
Please feel free to reach out to the REACH office at 328-4123, or you can reach out to the National Commissions for Persons with Disabilities at 396-8700.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, the road improvement project on Joe Farrington Road involves the upgrading of piping in adjoining side corners, including some 100 feet of 8-inch PVC mains, some 100 feet of 6-inch PVC mains, 300 feet of 4-inch PVC mains, and 200 feet of PVC mains along the side streets. I don't have a clue what that means. If you don't understand what that means, like me, we've got the professionals here tonight to explain it to you. Water and Sewerage Corporation's Deputy General Manager, Cyprian Gibson, Ministry of Works Project Lead Dion Munro, and Works Senior Engineer Francis Clark. Gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. Okay, now, so we were, you know, the ministers are good. They did a very good job of breaking it down and so forth. But what did we leave out? All right, explain, because I just call off a whole bunch of pipes, I assume they are, but I don't know what that means. So explain to me what this is going to mean for the public and what you're going to actually be doing.
Well, the most important thing for the public is improve quality of water supply, improve pressures, and also it's going to be minimizing the amount of maintenance that we need to do in this area. This area is our most intensive area that requires high maintenance in ensuring that the quality of water.
You're constantly back in that area?
Yes, flushing the lines, checking the lines, complaints. 70% of our complaints on New Providence related to water quality is in this area.
Really?
We've been doing a lot of improvements in different segments of New Providence, but this is the single biggest area that we need to address. And so we are glad.
You're getting rid of the problem.
Yeah, the biggest problem.
The biggest problem.
There's always going to be pockets and areas. Yeah. We have some 90 different segments of pipes in New Providence areas, and this is our most challenged area.
So will people be losing water supply while you are fixing this upgrade?
it will be held to a minimum.
Okay.
And so what we do, we lay the mains, we test them, and we make sure they meet international best practices. And once we are sure of that, then we switch it over. And so we switch it over in a short segment of time, we notify the public, and that's when we switch it over. So
and what I
it's almost be seamless.
And what I see here is most of the work is being done at nighttime.
Yes.
So mostly when people are settled in, they're settled down, and they're gone to bed, you're up working.
Yes,
24/7. God bless you over time. Let's talk about with the work side of things. Obviously, in order to prepare for this to happen, people don't understand the technical side of things. There had to be a lot of testing and analyzing to figure out what works best.
Okay, first of all, as part of our New Providence Road paving program, Joe Farrington Road is one of the most important arterials out in the east. There are 4 arterials that connects the east to the west. That's Bay Street, Prince Charles, and also Joe Farrington Road.
Correct.
Now, the condition of Joe Farrington Road is such in a bad state. We saw the need to start paving it. But before we can start paving it, we had to change some infrastructure. So we worked along with all of the utility companies, BPL, BTC, Cable Bahamas. They all did what they're supposed to do in terms of maintenance or installation of their underground utilities. The outstanding one was Water and Sewage Corporation, because the existing Water and Sewage Corporation infrastructure is old, so it needed complete restructure and reconstruction. So what we don't want to do is to go ahead and pave the roads, and then a few years later on down, utility company come in and start to excavate. So we worked along with the Water and Sewage Corporation to come up with a solution. One of the things that we are going to be experiencing during this is some disruption, and there will be delays, but we're going to be keeping those delays to a minimum, and we're not going to prolong it. There will be some traffic diversions, and the diversions would be through the Seabreeze Lane, Pine Yard Road, Hannah Road, or Lumumba Road.
And the good thing about those roads, they run parallel, so it's not really taking you off a course. I've seen some diversions before, and I was like, who made this diversion up? This is taking me all around the world and back again. But with these, at least these diversions kind of run parallel, so it's just a matter of just taking a different road rather than that road, which is a good thing with Joe Farrington Road. You can take alternate routes without taking you off your track too much.
Right, and there will be flagmen there to direct motorists to the designated diversions.
Let's get you in there. Obviously, this requires technical work and framing out and mapping out. What has your leg of it been involvement in?
Part of it would be the traffic management. Where we have you see, bringing people off of Joe Farrington Road. The project can be divided into 3 sections: from Bay Lily to Marigold, from Marigold to Meadows Drive, and then to Meadows Drive to Fox Hill. So the first section, people will be able to come up through Marigold Farm to continue on. And then we go from Marigold to Meadows Drive, so you can still be able to traverse that area. The nighttime work will be less traffic on that street, so that also is a plus to persons moving that area.
So persons who are concerned about if they're working at night, will it be disrupt me from sleeping? Is it a loud job?
Well, of course, they're gonna be heavy machineries around that time. But I always use this analogy, right? That if you like omelets, right, you got to crack the egg first before you can make that omelet. And this is the same thing with roadway construction or infrastructure development, right? You have to do the excavation, put in the pipes, right, and then pave the roads. Once all that is done, right, you get good water quality and you get smooth roads.
Good. And I'm going to make sure I leave you to doing all of the road work and never making an omelet for me. Anybody who made an omelet knows you got to put the ingredients in the pan first, then crack the egg. Don't cook. But I get your message. And gentlemen, thank you. Anything else you want to add to this so people need to know?
Well, we continue to improve water pressures throughout the country, one island at a time. And of course, New Providence would not be left out. And so it's our pleasure, Water and Sewage Corporation, taking it to another level. World-class water supply.
Congratulations to all of you, and I know you guys are there working hard. We're going to make sure we keep you protected and keep the public calm while you do what you have to do to bring the upgrades. Thank you all again for being on the show. So get ready. Some new roads are coming to the east, I tell you. That does it for us in the rundown. Be sure to stay locked to the ZNS network for the Bahamas tonight at 11. It's a final newscast in the country with the latest news and information with Royston Jones. I think Royston's somewhere in the building getting ready for 11 o'clock news. Somewhere around here getting ready for 11 o'clock news. He'll have all the latest news for you. For all of us here at ZNS, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, tomorrow is Wednesday. We have a great show planned for you tomorrow. And then, of course, the rundown on Thursday is a rundown on leadership. And, of course, we'll be back here on Monday after that. Have a great night, everybody. Good night.
At Fort Montague, I'm Opal Roach. This is ZNS.